Hello and welcome to the Voluntary Services Volunteer Induction video. I'm Catherine and I'm the Voluntary Services Lead, and I'm here just to talk a little bit about the Voluntary Services team and how we're here to support you. This video is also going to include some information from other members within the Trust to give you an overview of the reach of the Trust and also some of the teams that are there to support. I hope you find it useful. We'd very much welcome feedback on this video if you would like to pass it on to us, to let us know whether it's useful to you and whether it's given you some more information that you didn't already have. I know you've already gone through quite a process to get to this point of recruitment with the DBS checks and the occupational health checks and the e-learning for health training. So thank you for persevering, and we'll hopefully have you through to volunteering very soon. We're nearly there now. The first part of the information I'm going to talk to you about is our expenses claims. I wanted to make you aware that volunteers can claim expenses for any out-of-pocket costs. We want to make sure that the cost of volunteering isn't a barrier for people. So if you do want to claim expenses for your travel, you can either claim expenses through mileage, letting us know the postcodes of where you're coming from and to. Also, you can also claim public transport expenses. So if you keep your tickets or your receipts, you can claim back that cost too. If you're volunteering for 5 hours, you can also claim for food and drink while you're volunteering with us as well. You can claim up to £5 for that at the moment. The expenses form's there on the screen for you to see. It's a form that you can edit yourself on your computer, so you should be able to fill in all the details, or if you find it easier, by all means handwrite it out, take a photo and send it across to us. We ask you to get it to us by the end of the month, and then we'll process it the following month within the first 2 weeks. And we try to make sure that everyone has their expenses paid into their bank account by the 15th of the following month. So if you keep a monthly track of your expenses and then send us the form at the end of each month, we'll make sure you have the money in your account. Last thing I'm going to talk to you about volunteer support. We want our volunteers to know that we are here as a team to support you, and very much would like you to communicate with us whenever you can. Let us know how you're getting on. Please keep us in the loop. We want to make sure that any issues that you're coming across are addressed and try to make your volunteering a really positive experience for you. We hold volunteer get-togethers on a quarterly basis. We try to hold them in Willoughby and in Beverley and also in North Yorkshire somewhere. We rotate the areas to make sure that everyone is able to get to the get-togethers without having to travel too far. We also send out volunteer newsletters, which are sent out through a website called MailChimp. If you're not receiving these, please check your junk mail, because occasionally they do go into the junk mail box. These are sent out normally bi-monthly, occasionally more often, but we just like to keep you informed on all the latest updates and everything that's going on with the Voluntary Services team. The volunteer benefit booklet is the last part I'm going to talk to you about. We have a benefit booklet that we've made up for volunteers. We also have a staff benefit booklet, so we wanted to ensure that volunteers received as many of the benefits that staff have as possible. So we have created a booklet, and that is available for you. It will be sent out to you once you become a full volunteer, so you have all the information. Some of the other people that are speaking later in this video will also go over the details of things that you can have as a volunteer. And there's various benefits in terms of saving money, but also things to do with your health and well-being as well, which is fantastic. So please do listen out for those items and also have a look at the booklet and utilise as many of the benefits as you can, because it's a great thing to be able to offer our volunteers as a way of giving something back. That's our email address on the screen now. Please do get in touch with us if you need anything at all. We're here to support you. We want to make sure that any issues or positive feedback that comes through to us, so that we can feed that back and make sure that we address everything that needs to be addressed. When you become a volunteer, you should get a volunteer lanyard and with an ID badge on it and a volunteer polo shirt. And please do look after those. They are obviously NHS ID, so if they go missing, it does cause a bit of a problem. So please do look after those items. And when you are volunteering, please do wear them. It's a great way for staff and patients to be able to identify the volunteers that are working in all our different areas at Humber Trust. So yeah, please do use them and keep them safe. Okay, that's it from me. Drop us an email if you need to know anything after this video, and we'll keep communicating with you and get you into your placements. And I hope the rest of the information that follows this is useful. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm Lynn Parkinson. I'm the Chief Operating Officer with the Trust and the Deputy Chief Executive. Michelle Moran, our Chief Executive, would ordinarily be here, but unfortunately she's at another event this morning. So myself and Caroline. Caroline, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Caroline Flint. I'm the Trust Chair, and I've been with the Trust just over 2 years. Before that, I was a Member of Parliament, and I've been a Government Minister as well, including Public Health Minister, and I live in Doncaster.
Brilliant, thanks Caroline. And in terms of the clinical services that we provide, obviously you can see that there's quite a breadth there, and it'd be far too busy a slide if we were to name every one of them. But in principle, we provide mental health services, both adult and children and older people. Within all of our services, there are some specialities. So, for example, in mental health, we provide specialised perinatal service. We also provide other types of specialist intervention as well. And we provide a plethora of physical health services, so from our community services in Scarborough and Whitby, Rydal and Poppington. Again, they have some specialist elements amongst them, obviously community nursing, district nursing, physiotherapy. We have some specialised speech and language therapy, dietetics, etc. We have some forensic mental health services, so those service users who require their care being provided to them in a secure setting. We provide those within our inpatient services in the Humber Centre in Pineview, but we increasingly have a variety of community-focused forensic services too, which is great. Then we provide a range of children's services, not just mental health, but particularly our 0 to 19s health visiting and school nursing services, both in Hull and East Riding. Those services are all supported by a wide range of professions, and whether that's our medical staff, whether that's our nursing staff, are supported by a wide range of allied health professions. Approximately 3,000 staff. We do need to organise our services in such a way that we can operationally deliver them effectively. So the way that we do that is we have 4 operational, 4 clinical divisions. Our community and primary care services, so that's the physical community services that are located in the north part of our patch in North Yorkshire, so in Whitby, Scarborough, Rydal and Pocklington, and they're grouped with our primary care services, which are provided from the East Riding of Yorkshire. Our children's services are grouped together, both the children's physical services, that 0 to 19s, health visiting, public health nursing, and mental health services, along with our learning disability services, the secure services that I've touched upon, and then the final division is our mental health services. All of these services are really well supported by our corporate colleagues, and I'm sure amongst you today there'll be staff working within our corporate services, so whether that's our estates, our finance, our workforce and OD directorate, all of which we could not deliver those clinical services without them being effectively supported by our corporate colleagues. Already touched on the breadth and size of the area that we cover, which is large to say the very least. So we deliver our services across approximately 80 sites, different buildings across Hull and the East Riding, North Yorkshire, and also including those patches towards the north, Whitby, Scarborough, which I've already touched on. Our services do change over time, and indeed we have grown in terms of the provision that we have as an organisation. You can see there that that's reflected in our budget. So our income for 2020-2021 was around 175 million, and for 2022 and 2023 it's 225 million. So, and obviously within that, obviously it does describe the overall growth in our services. Just a little bit in terms of how our services are commissioned. Hopefully most of you now have heard of ICBs, integrated care boards, 42 across the country. Ours is Humber and North Yorkshire, so all of our services are commissioned one way or another within that sort of geographical area, overseen by the Humber and North Yorkshire ICB. So obviously the intention behind that is health and care partners really coming together to have that sort of clarity around service provision in that geographical area. It has a particular aim in terms of obviously optimising the health social care that's provided and reducing health inequalities where that is an issue. And we certainly do see some of those demographic areas in our population where our communities do and are impacted by health inequalities. And you'll see that reflected in our aims and ambitions as an organisation as well. So on the right hand side of that slide there, I'm sure to most of you it looks pretty complicated, but within our integrated care partnerships there are 6 places that ICB has oversight in terms of commissioning and delivering health and social care. So the East Riding, Hull, North East Lincolnshire, North Lincolnshire, North Yorkshire and the City of York. And we do touch all of those places, some more so than others, but some of our services are ICB wide and some of them obviously are delivered specifically in a particular place. So within that arrangement, obviously there is oversight through a variety of sort of key structures. There is a focus on quality, within that there's focus on workforce, etc., as you would expect. So really happy to answer any further questions around that sort of ICB, ICS arrangement if people wish to. Back to the trust then, in terms as to what underpins everything we do, quite frankly. It's really important to us that we have clarity around our values, caring, learning and growing together, and you should see that in sort of ingrained in the organisation. So this isn't something that we put down on paper and then we don't consider. This really should underpin the behaviours of the organisation in terms of how we deliver that clinical care, clinical support to our patients and service users. So hopefully those values, really make sense. We can't do what we want to do to the best of our abilities if we aren't, as an organisation, really demonstrating that quality of caring. And that's not just towards our service users and patients, but that's towards each other as well. We'll come back to that a little bit. Our expectation is, in terms of delivering the best and optimised care that we can, that we do focus on learning, growing, and really making sure that we are striving for the highest quality of care and provision that we can deliver. in terms of how we do all of that, and that sort of breadth of services that we've just described there across that wide geography, well, we can't do any of that, quite frankly, unless we have our workforce, and our workforce that is skilled, is dedicated, that's working within those values. So in order to do that, we understand that we need to support our staff. And hopefully, as you become more familiar with the organisation, you will see that we provide a whole range of opportunities to support wellbeing. Our organisation about being Humber, what we mean by that, going back to those values, caring, learning, growing, is we support that with expectations around our behaviours, how we work with each other, how we work with our service users.
The board, the trust board, it's a unitary board, and what do I mean by that? I mean, basically, if you look at the slide you have there, there's a couple of updates in there I think need to be added, but there's pretty much the board at the moment, but they're made up of two, if you like, groups of people that come together as one. They are non-executive directors, of which I'm one, joined by some others. We don't work for the trust, but we are employed by the trust to provide a different perspective, if you like, in terms of those discussions that we have at board. And therefore, we provide a certain level of independence and scrutiny in terms of what's happening and how the board works and how the trust works. And then we're also, alongside us, have the executive directors, of which Lynn is one, and you can see Lynn's photo on there, and Hilary and Michelle Moran, the chief exec, and other executive directors, see Kwame there on there as well. They obviously form part of the operational, very important part of the operational running of the organisation and the executive management team. But together, non-executive and executive directors come together because we each, as members of this trust board, have a joint responsibility for every decision of the board. So we as a board are there to not just accept papers, we're there to constructively challenge plans and different strategies. We look at the finance, we look at the performance data, and obviously they go through other committees, more operational committees, and also through our board committees as well. But the final, if you like, say often arises with the board in terms of being able to, as a board, agree that we are a healthy organisation, healthy in the way we behave, but also healthy in terms of our finances and in the terms of how we work as an organisation and what we provide, so that we can make sure that we're in touch. And that involves getting reports, yes, getting data, as I said, but also hearing from people. We also have a council of governors. Now, Foundation trusts, of which we're one, we are obliged in law to have a council of governors. It's not the same for NHS trusts. And on the slide here, you can see how the council of governors is made up. Now, the role of the governors is not the same as the board. They are there to hold the non-executive directors individually and collectively account for the performance of the board, and they seek assurance through myself and the non-executive directors about what is happening in the trust. They're also there to represent the interests of the membership and the public at large. And again, it's another way of fitting with our values of learning. It's about learning about other people's experiences and their experiences of our trust, not only the patients, but families and their networks too. And our governors help us to do that as well.
Hello, my name's Gary Jennison and I'm from the Workforce Wellbeing Team. I'm just going to guide you through the support and services available to yourselves. There you go. So Workforce Wellbeing Team, we're a very small team. There's 3 people in the team. It's Louise is our health wellbeing assistant, Ruth is our health wellbeing coordinator, and myself, Gary, I'm the health wellbeing specialist for the trust. Our team basically supports you with any of your health wellbeing needs, and I'll talk you through the services now. So are supported and committed to your any health wellbeing priorities and support, signposting referrals and guidance that you may need. And we recognise the importance of creating a safe and positive environment while you're volunteering and supporting your patients and roles as well, and where yourselves, employees, managers and everyone within Humber feels safe to deliver their work as well. The support available to yourselves is kind of the easiest way to describe it is there's three main services. So you've got the health wellbeing MOT, a lifestyle and emotional wellbeing support, that's a one-to-one, a digital health support and health wellbeing activities. So what we do, we go around right across the trust offering support to our workforce and volunteers, and you can access this in numerous ways. So the first service offer is the Health Wellbeing MOT. It's delivered in two parts, and you can access both of these if you wish. It's a fully comprehensive health wellbeing MOT. So that includes physical with blood pressure, random glucose, cholesterol levels and a body composition. So that will give you a really good understanding of your current health and wellbeing metabolically and at your risks of developing cardiovascular disease as well. Any out of range results we send back to your primary care teams as well to offer further support. As part of that offer as well, we also have a wellbeing MOT, which is a wellbeing conversation to basically have a discussion around what current needs you've got, what support's available, and to do a wellbeing score as well. The next support offer is a one-to-one health wellbeing support, and that's basically fully comprehensive kind of, how to describe it, in a nutshell, a one-to-one to co-produce a plan basically. So it could be for any health and wellbeing need that you may have, which could be healthy eating, weight management, emotional wellbeing, bereavement, financial support, and I deliver those as a health wellbeing specialist. It's fully confidential and the support's available for up to 3 to 6 months. The next support available is the digital health support. So that's a one-off session that's up to an hour, and basically it's kind of, if you're thinking I'm not sure whether I want long-term support, then it can just be a one-off, and that provides toolkits. It gives you some digital health resources, so that could be apps on your phone, it could be some resources sent to your emails, and it gives you a really good kind of snapshot of kind of what you currently need, give you some resources, you go off and kind of utilize those, and if they don't work you can always come back and access the service through a one-to-one as well. And then the next offer is the health and wellbeing activities. So these are activities available to yourselves totally free of charge. We do kind of promote these periodically, so normally every quarter, and the current offer available is things like rock climbing, yoga, and you can access those just by simply emailing us. So I'll give you that. So in terms of if you want to access any of our services or support, or you've got any questions, there's our email there. So it's the HNF -TR health and wellbeing at nhs.net. That'll go straight to our inbox if you've got any inquiries or any questions, and you can find us on the intranet under the Workforce Wellbeing Team as well. So please feel free to get in touch. We offer, like I say, lots of support and services, and yeah, hopefully you enjoy volunteering for the trust, and you know where we are if you need us. Thanks very much.
Hello, I'm Nikki Titchener. I'm a service manager for CAMS and eating disorders for the Trust, but I'm here to speak to you today as the Trust's Deputy Freedom to Speak Up Guardian. So back in 2013, we had the Francis report that came out, and this was a product of the events that happened in the Mid-Staffordshire hospitals, the awful events of patients being mistreated. And within the Francis report, there was a review that reinforced the need for organisational and cultural change. And what he stated was that organisations needed to assess progress in creating and maintaining a culture of safety and learning, ensuring that there was a culture that was free from bullying, encouraging regular reflective practice, individually and within teams, having policies and procedures that were built around good practice, talking about publicly celebrating raising concerns within teams and around the trust in general, and ensuring that staff have formal and informal access to senior leaders. So what is freedom to speak up? So when things go wrong, we need to make sure that lessons are learned and that things are improved from the things that people bring forward. If we think that something might go wrong, it's important that we feel able to speak up so that potential harm is prevented. But even when things are going well, but could be even better, people should feel that they're able to say something and should expect that your suggestions are listened to and used as an opportunity for improvement. The things that people can bring forward in terms of freedom to speak up, I think concerns around patient safety, bullying and harassment, fraud, unsafe working practices, inadequate inductions, or training for staff. How does freedom to speak up work? What we would always encourage you to do is speak to your line manager or your supervisor in the first instance. But if they're not the right person for you to go to, then we will always be there for you as guardians within the trust, as someone that you can come to as an alternative. And if you come to either myself or Alison as a guardian, the first thing that we will always do is thank you. And that might sound like something that's really simple, but it's really important that we do that, because we know that when you come forward to speak up, it's not always an easy thing to do. The other thing that we will always do is make sure that you have feedback, as it's difficult to go through these processes, as I've said. And you often want to know what's happening. So we will always make sure that you get feedback along the way. We will always do that within the bounds of confidentiality. So the conversations that we have with you will be kept confidential. But also if there's other people involved in what you've brought forward, we have to maintain their confidentiality as well. So we can only give you information that doesn't breach their confidentiality. So if you ever need to contact us, there's our email address, and then there's mine and Alison's email addresses and telephone numbers, should you need to get in touch with us. Michelle Moran is our exec lead for the Trust for Speak Up, but all the policies and details that you'd need are also on the Trust intranet. So if you go onto the first intranet page, there's a loudspeaker on there, which says Freedom to Speak Up underneath it. If you click on there, all our policies are there for everybody to see.
Hello everyone, my name is Martin Inglis. I'm a Safeguarding Adult Specialist Practitioner. I'm here today to do your volunteer safeguarding induction. The main purpose of the safeguarding team is to support the Trust in protecting children, young people and adults who access our services. We use the following definition. Safeguarding means protecting people's health, well-being and human rights, and enabling them to live free from harm, abuse and neglect. The safeguarding team provides the following: a duty service from Monday to Friday between the hours of 9 and 5. This provides advice, support and supervision. We support colleagues in identifying safeguarding concerns and with the required next steps. Facilitation of bespoke and mandatory training. Development of safeguarding SOPs, policies and procedures, undertaking various investigations such as PSIIs, Section 42s, LTS, audits and other reviews, share safeguarding news and information within the global newsletter. Remember, there are lots of resources, support, tools and key contact numbers on the intranet pages. And we also have the duty system between 9 and 5 to discuss any safeguarding queries. You can contact the safeguarding team using the below safeguarding email address. This is for all general inquiries and any duty concerns. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Elaine, one of the Infection Prevention and Control nurses, and I would like to introduce you to the Infection Prevention and Control team so you know who we are, what we do, and how to contact us. This session will also include sepsis awareness for all. The Infection Prevention and Control team, also known as the IPC team, provide advice and expertise on all infection prevention and control issues for the teams across the Trust. Our aim is to minimise the risk of infections for patients, staff, volunteers and visitors through effective infection prevention practices embedded in everyday practice and applied consistently. To help us achieve our aim, the IPC team roles are diverse and include providing infection prevention and control information, advice, education, training, promotion and raising awareness. Contacting the IPC team, well, anyone can contact the IPC team. You don't need to be in a clinical role. The IPC team work Monday to Friday during office hours and manage the team email inbox and office phone. Please do leave us a message if we aren't able to answer your call, and we will return your call as soon as we possibly can. More information about IPC is available on the Humber Teaching NHS Foundation Trust internet page. The IPC team promote and raise awareness throughout the year, and we include sepsis awareness induction to provide all our colleagues with information to recognise the signs and symptoms of sepsis, as what we do know is that early treatment could potentially save a family member, friend or patient's life. The video that I'm going to show you is provided by the UK Sepsis Trust, which launched its Sepsis Savvy campaign, encouraging organisations and companies across the UK to empower their colleagues and customers to become sepsis savvy, thus enabling everybody to be alert and understand the importance of asking, could it be sepsis? The video is initially presented by the actor Jason Watkins, and it's about his personal experience and is quite emotive from the start. For anyone who's had a personal experience of sepsis, you may want to mute or take a break for a few minutes during the video.
On the last day of 2010, we put our daughter, Maud, who was 2.5, into her cot to sleep. And in the morning on New Year's Day, 2011, she had died. She never woke. The symptoms seemed harmless. They seemed like any other cold or flu or stomachache. But we now know that something else was going on underneath. If I was aware, I would have asked. There would have definitely been a different outcome. So that's the way that you can look after your children and your families and the people you meet, is to take a deep breath and think, could this be sepsis? I'm going to ask someone, because you could save their life.
I'm Dr. Ron Daniels, NHS consultant and founder and joint chief executive of the UK Sepsis Trust. Thank you for taking the time to learn about sepsis. After watching this short video, you should have the knowledge to protect yourself, your loved ones, and your friends and colleagues. That's what being sepsis savvy is all about. Sepsis is when our immune system goes into overdrive trying to fight an infection. Instead of protecting us, the immune system begins to attack our organs and tissues. And if we don't stop it, sepsis can very quickly lead to multi-organ failure and death. Sepsis is always triggered by an infection. Common causes include pneumonia, urinary tract infection, and infections around a cut or a bite or a sting. But sepsis can also arise from rarer conditions like meningitis, as well as common viral infections like the flu. Sepsis is a medical emergency that affects 245,000 people in the UK every year, causing 48,000 deaths. That equates to 5 lives lost to sepsis every hour, more than are caused by bowel, breast and prostate cancer combined. Although certain people are more at risk, sepsis can affect anyone of any age, but it's often treatable if caught quickly. And that's why being sepsis savvy and knowing the signs saves lives. In adults, the symptoms of sepsis spell the word sepsis. S for slurred speech or confusion. E for extreme pain in the muscles or joints. P for passing no urine, no water in a day. S for severe breathlessness. I for it feels like you're going to die. S for skin that's mottled or discoloured or very pale. Any one of those 6 symptoms in an adult with an infection, it goes straight to A&E. It's very important to note that non-white skin may show colour changes in more lightly pigmented areas, like the inside of the forearm or the palms of the hands. Around 10% of sepsis cases are in children, and the signs are slightly different. A child may have sepsis if he or she is breathing very fast, has a fit or a convulsion, looks mottled or very pale, has a rash that doesn't fade when you press it, is very lethargic or difficult to wake, who feels abnormally cold to the touch. Any one of those 6 signs in a child with an infection, it goes straight to A&E. If you suspect sepsis, time is of the essence. Call 999 or go straight to A&E and just ask, could it be sepsis? Sepsis must be treated in hospital, and most cases will need antibiotics. A treatment pathway developed by the UK Sepsis Trust and used around the world, the Sepsis 6, can save lives if it's delivered quickly. It's important to remember that antibiotics won't help with a viral illness, so they won't help to treat the common cold or the flu. Preventing infection is the first line of defence against sepsis, so it's important to stay up to date with vaccinations and practice good personal hygiene. Crucially, the more people who know about sepsis, the more lives can be saved, which is why we urge you to test your knowledge with our game and share your sepsis savvy status on social media. With your help, we can end preventable deaths from sepsis. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the video, and I hope you found it informative and empowering to be able to ask, could this be sepsis? Thank you.
Welcome to the Trust. My name's Susie and I'm going to talk to you briefly about information governance and how our team can help and support you. What is information governance? It's a framework to ensure that personal information is dealt with legally, securely, efficiently and effectively in order to deliver the best possible care for our patients. On your screen now are some key words that spring to mind from other colleagues when they think of information governance, both in their professional capacities and as users of services themselves. As both a professional and a consumer, I feel that information governance places a responsibility on organisations and individuals to look after the data that they are trusted with, to keep it confidential and secure, to manage it correctly, and to ensure that it is accurate in order to protect their service users from harm, whether this be someone engaged in healthcare or someone that's buying a new washing machine. As a consumer, knowing that an organisation takes information governance seriously makes me trust them more and makes me feel respected. I would be more likely to engage with an organisation that made me feel this way. So why is IG important and how does it link with Humber's values? One of the main aspects is that having strict IG controls in place instills public confidence. For example, within healthcare, patients share very personal and sensitive information with us. It's essential that they can trust the way that we handle and manage their information. As a trust, we try to learn from our mistakes and work with services to develop new processes on the back of any incidents which may arise. Being a part of Humber means to be open and honest and to be respectful. Being mindful of our IG requirements certainly works towards that ethos. The Trust's reputation can be damaged when incidents occur, and in order to help the Trust grow as a provider of high-quality services, and in order to put patients first and be seen as somewhere that is friendly and welcoming, it is important that we have our policies and procedures in place and have IG at the heart of all projects and systems that we're part of. Information is an asset, and we are accountable for personal data that we process. As a trust and as Humber professionals, we take ownership of what we do and the choices that we make, which extends to what we do with the data that we hold. We use our data every day and we base decisions on it, so it's important that we have the systems in place to protect and manage it correctly, as well as ensuring that the information we record is accurate. Without accurate information, we would be unable to communicate effectively. While information governance is about transparency and doing what's right for our patients, it is also a legal requirement, and we can incur fines if we don't abide by these requirements. If we don't meet those requirements, we could face legal proceedings as an organisation. Under the legislation, individuals can be prosecuted as well as the organisation that they work for example, for accessing a patient's information without a lawful reason to do so. All of our systems do have audit trails, so please remember to value everyone, put patients at the heart of everything that you do, and act professional. As you can see, we've covered all of Humber's values there, and that is why IG is an important part of being Humber. So part of the work that we do means we have to measure the Trust's compliance with information governance requirements placed on us so that we can be sure our frameworks are robust. You help us to measure our compliance through completing the online data protection training, which evidences that we've equipped staff and volunteers with the necessary tools to look after information. We often receive reports of incidents via Datix. Reporting an incident is not necessarily a bad thing. It enables us to work together to adapt processes to mitigate future breaches. It helps us to analyse trends which might be happening trust-wide, which means that we can implement strategies to support both patients and colleagues. It helps us to maintain an openness with each other, and it gives the reporter the opportunity to act on feedback, grow and share their learning with others. If you ever find that any data has gone astray or has been accidentally sent to somewhere it shouldn't, please speak to the team that you're working with and they'll submit a data. Patients may also wish to see copies of their medical records. Please pass this to the medical records team whose details are on your screen now. Patients may object to certain entries in their patient record. They may believe that information about them is factually incorrect. Please pass these queries on to our team. We will help the clinicians to investigate whether or not the information can be removed from the patient record. We have put in place strong policies and procedures to protect the data that we look after. Familiarising yourself with these is key to avoiding incidents and making sure that patient data stays safe. Our policy map is on the screen for you now, and all of the documents are available on the intranet. Make sure that you follow the guidance in the electronic comms procedure when using email, such as to send patient data to a colleague. There's useful forms containing that procedure too, such as the form used to gain consent to send emails to patients. It's also important to check out the guidance in the safe haven procedure when transporting patient data, which includes advice on the best methods for posting patient data and guidance on how to transport physical files from one location to another. Lastly, the key roles in IG are Peter Beckwith, the Finance Director. He's our CIRO, which means that he oversees all information and cybersecurity risks. Our Caldecott Guardian is Hilary Gledhill, who is the Nursing Director. She's responsible for making sure patient confidentiality is maintained. Our DPO is Lisa Davies, Head of Legal and Information Governance, and she ensures that we comply with GDPR. The day-to-day team consists of Tracy O'Malan, Karen Robinson, and me. If you need any further information or have any questions, please contact us on the email address that's available on your screen now. We're also available in person, and that's usually on a Wednesday at the Mary Seacole building. We're at the back of the building, near the post room and mental health legislation. We work in the same room as infection control. I hope that you found this introduction useful, and thank you very much for your time.
Hello,
and welcome to this introduction to Equality and Diversity at the Trust. My name is John Duncan. I'm the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Partner for the Trust. And what I want to talk you through a little bit is a brief introduction to equality, diversity, inclusion, and what it means to us at the Trust and the sort of work that we're looking at. So it's a fundamental thinking behind equality, diversity, inclusion initiatives is that through inclusive practice, by including everyone, we can ensure that all individuals, regardless of their background or characteristics, have equal access to high quality healthcare and services. And it's through promoting diversity and inclusion within the Trust that enables a diverse workforce, which brings a wide range of perspectives, skills and experiences to the table. And this can lead to improved patient outcomes, and healthcare professionals are better equipped to understand and respond to the diverse needs of the population that they serve. So fundamentally, we work around the Equality Act 2010, and it's the protected characteristics that we regularly work with. And these are age, disability, gender reassignment, marriage and civil partnership, pregnancy and maternity, race, religion or belief, sex and sexual orientation. And EDI initiatives, they work to reduce bias and discrimination and to foster better relations between people with these protected characteristics. It's worth noting as well that the Equality Act 2010 is now 13 years old, soon to be 14 years old, and it's in need of a refresh. And so, for example, we wouldn't say sexual orientation now, we'd use terms like gender identity, gender expression, gender reassignment. Similarly, we wouldn't look for someone's gender recognition certificate. If someone came to us and said, I'm living in a different gender to that assigned at birth, we would say, how can we help you? What can we do to be more inclusive as an employer? So if you want to get involved in EDI or you have any questions or feedback, we're always open to feedback, suggestions, comments. Do reach out to me. My name is John Duncan. My email address is john.duncan6@nhs.net. But also consider contributing and supporting our events, include Black History Month, Disability History Month, Pride, Diwali, International Women's Day, LGBT History Month. The list goes on. And again, if there's an event that you think we should be focused on, do reach out and let us know.
Thank you for watching our voluntary services induction video. I hope you found the information useful. Please do send any feedback that you have on the process to us on the email address that you can see on the screen. If you could also fill in the form, sign it and let us know that you've watched it, just to confirm that you have watched this video, that would be fantastic. And then we can get on to the next stage of the process, getting you through to volunteering. If you want to fill in the form, you can either fill it in by electronically signing it, or if you prefer, you can fill it in yourself and take a picture of the completed form and send it back to us that way. Hope that helps. Please do email us any queries on the email address that you can see on the screen, and we'll look forward to getting you involved in volunteering very soon. Thank you.